Today we will try to understand whether Indians in India were indigenous or whether they came from outside, from Europe, from Africa, or from Middle East, or whatever. This is called as the Aryan migration theory or the Aryan invasion theory. Some people are for the theory, some people are against the theory, some people do not believe in both, and some people believe in both. People means experts. Ordinary citizens are not bothered about where they came from. They are busy surviving their day-to-day life. Means nothing wrong in that. So migration theory or invasion theory, as this is connected to my country, my culture, or I will say our country, our culture, means Indus Valley culture, Sapta Sindhu culture, and Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, means Hindu religion or Vedic religion, are they same or are they not same? Whether Indus Valley culture means Hindu culture, Vedic culture, or they were contemporaries, means both of them existed independently. Evidence for everything is weak or no evidence. All experts are making all kinds of claims. There are so many books available on this topic of Aryan migration theory, Aryan invasion theory, that ultimately even experts can get confused. So, before going into antiquity, means I will take you back nearly 1 galactic years back, means 200 to 300 million years ago. So 1 galactic year is around 250 million years. But before going back, we will try to understand why human beings, birds, animals, fishes migrate in the first place or invade others. See, it is very simple. Citizens from underdeveloped or developing countries go to developed countries for better prospects, means food, clothing and shelter are good, quality of life is good, quantity of life is good, comparative struggle is less, your lifestyle is better. So if you go in a first class country from a second class country or from third world to a first class country, naturally you go for better prospects. So you go for better prospects, food, clothing, shelter, etc. And then you will go there, maybe you are already married or you get married there. Then you raise your family in a first class country if you belong to a second class or third world country. So that whatever lifestyle you did not have in your country, underdeveloped country, you can give your children better lifestyle. See, nothing wrong in that. I am not against immigration, migration, and I am not for that outsider and insider job. These are outside people, we are inside people. So, aliens and natives. So, anyone coming from outside is alien. Anyone who is born and brought up there is native. Simple, right? It is complicated, but I will take you slowly to the point. So, migration by whales, big animals, birds, tigers, horses, bisons, cattles, cows, wild buffaloes. They are migrating from here to there, there to here for feeding and breeding. Feeding and breeding. So if you get good food, then you can have a good lifestyle. You can breed, your children will survive. So for the survival of our species, migration is there in nature. So for similar reasons, human beings also migrate for feeding and breeding. Nothing wrong in that. But in migration we can see, we all must have seen in Discovery Channel, National Geography Channel, Animal Planets, all those jungle channels which I liked when I was a child, and even today I like it. That migration can be a very dangerous thing, because while we are migrating, survival of the fittest rule is always applied. Ill persons will die, weak persons will die. Sometimes predation can happen. Predators can kill us, eat us. So predator means hunter and the hunted. So usually hunters will decide all the rules. They are at the top of the food chain, right? Hunters, food chain, they are at the top. So this I am telling in a scientific manner, and whenever I will use in this video the word race or genes or genetic makeup or mention color, it will be for description and not discrimination, because we will not understand otherwise. There is no intention to discriminate against anyone, because I am a very democratic person. I believe in democracy. I come from the biggest country, largest democracy in the world, India, and I am proud of that. So here discrimination is not intended, description is intended, right? Means I am calling a spade because it is a spade. I am not calling a spade to insult that spade. Okay, because nowadays people have become very touchy. When you talk about race and language and religion, people immediately means they have political perspectives and agendas. This is a scientific description and not a scientific discrimination, which many scientists also do. See, we are all human beings. We all have our biases, self-justifications, confirmation bias. So like in theoretical physics, this scientist will use auxiliary hypothesis and invent and discover new formulas and new mathematics and new logarithms to justify their theories if existing mathematics or existing formulas are not able to justify them. So self-justification or confirmation bias, everyone suffers. No one is above that. No one can claim to be that. And after many years of research, sadly you can become too focused and stubborn, and you are not willing to take in new inputs, which is not good for any research in any field, right? So once we understand that animals and humans migrate for better prospects of feeding and breeding, so that my genes will survive, my children will live happily ever after in that first class conditions compared to whatever harsh conditions the animals have or we have in our basic country. Okay. The real reason for migration is this only: feeding and breeding, feeding and breeding, feeding and breeding, right? Survival of the fittest. And see, even migrating nowadays is not a joke. It was never a joke in the jungle also and in our cosmopolitan jungle also. See, if you want to go in a first class country from a second class or a third world country, there are different types of visas and work permits. You are not welcome just like that. If you are useful to that country, see, because they are at the top of the food chain, they are the providers. So if you are not useful to them, your visa will be rejected. Whether you are a semi-skilled, skilled, unskilled or fully skilled, depending upon your skills and depending upon the requirement of the first class country, top of the chain, they will decide whether a person from second world or third world can come to their country. Even as a tourist, it is difficult to go if your economical conditions are not good in the second world or the third world countries. They check your bank balance. See, this is not for discrimination. I am giving a description. This is a fact. If you want to go abroad as a tourist also in first class countries, I am not taking names because there is no need to take names. And I don't blame anyone also. Right? So you have to give your bank balance, your report, your income tax report, how much you earn, how is your family, what you are doing, why you want to go. Means it is as if you are a criminal who wants to immigrate to their country. Even if you want to go as a tourist, it is difficult. So imagine in this 2021 also, it is difficult to migrate as a tourist also. So just imagine the difficulties if you want to migrate, which everyone is aware. As a student or permanently, if you want a citizenship of that first class country, you really have to be a first class person in your second class or third world country. If your skills are required for them, then for them you are cheap labor. Quality labor available in quantity and half rate. See why I am saying this? This is the same law is applicable in the jungle. If you have a good quality and quantity, physical and mental strength and intellectual strength, only then you can migrate in the jungle from one place to another. Otherwise, hunters are waiting, predators are waiting to kill you. They are waiting for these long migrations. In rivers, crocodiles are waiting, lions and tigers are waiting, wolves are waiting, packs of wild dogs are waiting. So these things, migrating from one place to another is very dangerous in the jungle also for animals, birds and fishes. Similarly, even today, when we have to migrate, we have to be super qualified for proper placing in that first world country, right? So this thing we have to understand. For migrating also you require super qualities, right? Then if you are going in a, see, this is also important. This point will come up later when I will describe supercontinents, Pangaea and Gondwana, 250 million years ago. So in many first class countries, students have to give language test also. They have to give language test of that country, because only if you pass that language test with a specific score, then you will get admissions in their universities. See, this is a correct procedure. I am not speaking against this procedure. What I am trying to tell is, if we want or if anyone wants to upgrade himself, migrate himself for better feeding and breeding prospects, he has to have that capabilities. He has to learn the language of the higher ups where he is going, because top of the food chain people don't need to understand language and culture of someone who is at the lowest level of the food chain, because they don't need us, or they don't need any hunter. Like a lion and tiger doesn't need a deer to survive in the jungle. Jungle is theirs, right? So this is the migration theory. Why we migrate, why animals migrate: feeding and breeding prospects better. Then invasion theory means Europeans invaded India, Middle East invasion from Middle East, and so many theories are there. See, why anyone invades anyone? For invasion also you require power. See, a single dog or a lower level animal or even a gang of deers will not attack a lion or tiger, because that will be fatal. See, lion and tiger, they are at the top of the food chain. They are killing machines. They can destroy a herd of deers, a herd of buffaloes. We know that. Of course, unnecessarily they will never do. But lions and tigers, invasion is there when there is a territorial dispute. When you want to retain a territory, for example, a old lion with a pride, a family, see, if 2 lions are there, 3 lionesses are there, they have got kids, and there are young lionesses, suppose, in their pride. Then outside young lions, now they also want to breeding place and feeding place. So they have to fight with the old lion. Then the young lions will fight with the old lions, the established guard. Then they will kill this lion. Then they will kill his children. And then the woman's lion or lioness are ready to breed with these new rulers. So a winner takes all scene from the jungle exists even now. Even now we have seen that first class countries or superpower countries, no need to take names, everyone knows which are the superpower countries. They are at the top of the food chain. They have got nuclear weapons. No one messes with them. They have their lobbies. Now what is a lobby? When you have common interests. So your enemy's enemy is your friend, right? So basically, even at the top of the food chain, like a lion also wants to expand his territory so that he can have more lionesses and more family, his genes will survive. Same rules are applicable when a human being invades. He invades. See, invasion ordinary weakling will not do. Invasion only a warrior can do, a fighter can do, who has weapons to kill and control. So they will invade because they want to increase their kingdom, and when they can increase their kingdom, naturally their feeding grounds increase, their breeding grounds increase, and without mentioning, we know that whoever wins, winner takes it all, loser loses everything. He is either enslaved, his women are used for breeding of superiors, right? Or women usually have to surrender, they have got no choice. We have seen many World War I, World War II. These are all migration and invasions. World War I, World War II, migration and invasions to control the world, to bring it on its knee, and to whoever is attacking the hunter, he wants to increase his breeding and feeding place. And usually the loser ends up losing everything. So either he is enslaved, he is forced to embrace culture of the conqueror. Whoever conquers, his culture he will inflict on the others, or genocide will take place. Genocide means, see, I don't have to describe, everyone knows. Then if the conqueror thinks that these people are useless and we don't need them, so destroy their males, kill their progeny, take their women and breed, or just be a hunter and enjoy like a gladiator. The Roman kings used to have gladiators to fight against each other. So whoever who wins, he is set free. So the hunter always decides the rules. Migration and invasion only physically and mentally strong, superior persons can do. It is not easy, it is not a joke, even today and even millions of years back. Okay. So once you understand the core reasons, it never changes. The law of the jungle still exists. Survival of the fittest is still on. So in every culture, now the question comes about Indus Valley culture, whether Indians are indigenous to India or whether the genes came from outside or inside. So first we have to understand the real roots and core reasons of migration and invasion. See, basic is very simple. Migration and invasion are done for better prospects, feeding ground and breeding ground, because we can't stay, human beings or animals also, they also want to expand. They are breeding grounds, they are feeding grounds. We forget that human beings are also animals. So World War I and World War II led to mass migrations, mass invasions, many people died, genocide was there. World War III was a biological war, corona, COVID-19. We know which country inflicted this on the whole world, and very soon that country will be taught a big lesson. Because when you try to destroy the world, then the whole world will come together and destroy you. World War I is the example, World War II is also example, and World War III is also example now. Very soon, whoever has committed this heinous crime of biological warfare against mankind in 2020, they will be punished, definitely. And their country will disintegrate like USSR was there, then it disintegrated. It is called as balkanization. But that is not another topic. I am not out of context. Try and understand. This is not out of context. This is what is migration and invasion. Everyone wants to conquer this world, to rule this world. We have this in superheroes movies. Crack scientists, they want to rule the world. They are inventing and designing things so that they can rule the world. But destruction ultimately takes place because of that, right? So once you understand why we migrate and why we invade, thumb rule is for better breeding and better feeding prospects and increasing our rule and our genes, our culture. We should always, the winner or the hunter inflicts, he converts those who are lost to his culture, or automatically who are lost, who have lost the war, they have no choice. They will accept for better prospects, better feeding and better breeding grounds. So conversion, why conversions takes place? Because one who converts will always offer a better feeding and breeding ground and show him, see, you are not getting good food, clothing and shelter. You don't have proper feeding and breeding grounds. You come to us, become like us, follow our rules and regulation, we will provide you with good feeding and breeding grounds. That is the basic reason. Anyone who is settled who is happy with his life will not convert from anywhere to anywhere. He is happy where he is. He will not migrate also, and he will not invade also. Right? So, migration and invasion you have understood. Why we migrate and why we invade. Maybe I may have sounded repeated or repetitive, but this is required because this will help. Now, scientists are talking about, geneticists especially, genetic experts, genetologists are talking about that the whole world, all human beings, they are trying one theory for everyone. They believe that everything originated in Africa, then migrations took place from the equator towards the North Pole, South Pole, East, West, and then all human beings have a common genes, and we can find Indo-Aryan genes or European genes in Indians, transient dormant genes, which indicate that these people are not indigenous, but they belong to current superior worlds. So, they want their superiority complex or superiority to establish. I am not into inferior and superior. I don't believe that a specific genetic makeup or race will make you inferior or superior. Sorry, I don't believe in that. Especially human beings can overcome all these limits. Lower animals, I don't know. It is not possible. But see, we have heard, right? There are breeds of dogs, there are breeds of horses. Horse breeding and dog breeding, animal husbandry is famous. In every country there is a specific dog breed. In every country they have animal breeds, they have different horse. We have heard about the Arabian horse, then Alsatian dog, Doberman, right? But we have the Asian elephant, we have the African elephant, right? But compulsorily trying to say that all elephants came from the same ancestors, all dogs came from the same ancestors. Genetically they may look same, but by saying this we are insulting nature. I am not trying to use the word God, because I am a believer, but some people will say that now he is talking about God. See, God means what? Omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. He knows all, he can do anything. Means it is a something, God is a very irrational concept. So instead of going into that philosophy, I will use nature. We are insulting nature by saying that all animals, all dogs are connected to the same ancestry, all horses are connected to the same ancestry, all flowers are connected to the same ancestry, all human beings are connected, they have the main father, one father and one mother, and then they spread all over the earth. But see, logically if you look, now when I am saying race and genes, this is for description, not discrimination. We can clearly see Europeans have a different physiology and anatomy, Russians have a different physiology and anatomy, Asians look different, right? Indians in India, North Indian, South Indian, East Indian, West Indian, they have different looks, different languages also. Asia also, Asians, North Asia, South Asia, East Asia, West Asia, the looks and languages are different. North America, South America, continents, North American continent, South American continent, Asian continent, Australian continent, Oceania, Middle East, Europe and Africa. These are the 7 continents. Atlantis, they say, is the 8th, which is underwater, under the sea. Right? Thinking or even assuming that everyone on earth it belongs to the same ancestor is irrational and unscientific. Genetically they may be same. See, dogs family will be same, lions family will be same, horses family will be same, but different horses look different in different countries, right? So I think nature or God has the capability of feeding and breeding independent species in that specific latitude and longitude, right? It is quite possible for nature. See, a ordinary flu virus or corona, now it is August 2021 while I am talking this lecture, to be precise 9th August 2021, 9th August 2021, and time is 2010, India, right? So corona virus in 2020 it was different, now it is mutating into alpha, beta, gamma, delta, right? So just imagine, means flu virus is changing every year, virus is nothing but a protein, RNA, DNA. I am not a virologist, but whatever general knowledge I have, I am speaking. Everyone knows that. But see, these viruses, they are fighting for their survival. Corona understood that we are having vaccines now. So it is changing. It is also finding good breeding and feeding place. Even here, survival of the fittest is there. If your immune system is down, you are dead. For any disease, not only corona, right? We have heard about, for example, say tuberculosis disease. There are multiple drug resistant diseases now. So whatever these pharmacological companies are doing, spending billions of dollars and doing research for 10 and 20 years, and this bacteria is so intelligent, it has developed multi-drug resistant bacteria disease. So this bacteria is also fighting for its survival, and we think that bacteria don't have brains. Maybe not as per our logic, whatever brains we have in our skulls, as per that they may not have brains, but this virus and bacteria also develop resistance to our drugs, resistance to our vaccines, and hence we have to again and again reinvent drugs, reinvent vaccines. So if a ordinary flu virus or a coronavirus or tuberculosis bacteria can fight for its survivals and migrate and invade with all might and resist our drugs and vaccines, so just imagine our genes, our immune system of human beings and other animals also, all animals on the earth, they have their own immune system, they have their own genes. As I said, Europeans and Middle East people, Indians, North Indians, even in America, North American, South American, East American, West American, Native Americans, alien Americans, and native and alien we will apply to all continents, 7 continents. See, in the same country, everyone looks different, even though slightly, or sometimes very much different, and the languages are also different. We cannot assume that all came from the same family or from the same area or from same father and mother, the whole world. That is illogical, means at some point it is laughable also, but I will not use that word. It is illogical definitely to assume that in our country, especially in India, we have 33 states and 33 languages. Saying that all Indians came from one father and mother. Colors are different, looks are different, physiology and anatomy is different, languages are different. North Indians have different language, East Indians have different language, West Indians have different language, South Indians have different language. Here in our country, everyone is proud, every state is proud of his language and culture and his busy promoting in the state, within the state, they are busy promoting their own language as the main language, right? So nothing wrong in that. All states have that right in democracy. So that is what I am trying to tell. Within the country, there is so much variety in all countries. Different breeds of animals also. Different breeds of animals. To say that to acknowledge everyone as Indo-Aryan or Indo-African or Indo-Mesopotamian or Indo-Iranian, or saying that Indians never migrated outside. See, migration usually takes place when you have shortage of food. Luckily, wherever in any country, if food, clothing and shelter is available, that means if feeding and breeding grounds are clear and safe, no one will migrate unnecessarily. So, that history you can check, prehistory or antiquity also. People migrate for, if there are conditions are difficult in their native land, only then they will seek alien lands or alien pastures, and the pasture is always greener on the other side. That is a saying, right? Then what I am trying to say is, here many scientists are trying one theory for everything, one ancestry for everything. Everyone comes from one specific point. They have got same parents. That is not possible. We are underestimating nature or God or nature or God or nature, whatever means. We will use nature, right? So that everyone is happy. We are underestimating nature. Why this genetic similarity is there? As I said, if a ordinary flu or coronavirus or a bacteria can develop multi-drug resistance and multi-vaccine resistance, so we are underestimating our genes, our capabilities. Herein, we have to understand the Darwin's theory of evolution, and we have to apply Mendel's laws of genetics. It is evolutionary also and revolutionary also. Genes will mutate. If genes are exposed to extreme conditions, like in our cars, planes, we have got emergency exit for survival. Similarly, our genes also have an emergency exit. They will survive somehow. They will hibernate, estivate, sleep, wait. Like a virus is waiting in our body for our virus or bacteria or illness is waiting in our body, human body, for the person to fall ill, so that if the immune system is down, it can develop. So, assuming that birds of same feather flock together, means what? Same feather means they belong to the same class, same genes, right? So, similarly, human beings of same region will flock together, human beings of same color will flock together, human beings of same language will flock together, human beings with same culture will flock together. This is for description and not discrimination. See, when we go abroad, we have to learn their language. But in a foreign country, if you meet someone from our country and our culture who speaks our language, see, language is something which is a quality only with human beings. So, someone who understands our language, we will immediately become friends with him, because he understands our language, our culture. And we have seen that whenever immigration takes place, minorities in any countries will unite, right? Minorities in any country will unite. So, there will be the saying of birds of same feather flock together, because their culture is same, their language is same, they understand their insults, humiliations, aspirations, festivals are same, their gods are same. See, this is applicable to our tribals also. So, feeding and breeding, naturally, despite all the talks of fraternity, brotherhood and equality, interracial marriages are very rare. I am not saying it is not there, but interracial marriages are very rare. In all countries, we all prefer to get married in our same culture, same language, same religion, and a few exceptions are there where nowadays we call as lesbian, gays, transgenders. I respect them, they have their rights. So same sex marriages are also allowed in modern countries also, and in some tribals also, tribal cultures also. I am not taking names because everyone knows which country and which tribes, right? The point here is, I am trying to describe something and not discriminate. Again and again I am repeating. This is a purely scientific talk. And nothing wrong in that. We feel comfortable with someone who looks like us, who talks like us, who walks like us. In the jungle also you see, lions and tigers have their own groups. Elephants have their groups. Bullocks, bisons, buffaloes have their groups. Deers are in groups. Zebras are in groups. Donkeys have their groups. Monkeys have their groups. Wolves are in packs. Dogs are in packs. Birds of same feather are in packs. Predators, hunters and hunted. Hunters are united. Hunted are also united. So that is very natural. Means loving our own species and going for better breeding and feeding prospects. All species on earth are doing that. So migration also takes place from all countries to all countries. Innovation also takes place from all countries to all countries. Usually because at that time, travel time, pre-antiquity, means of aeroplanes, fighter planes were not there. Technology was not there. So they used to fight within their jungle, within their area. It was not easy to cross oceans. Birds will fly, migratory birds, from one island to another island, from tropical to poles, from poles to tropic, right? Some even travel from poles to poles, North Pole to South Pole. Yes, there are some fishes and birds also. Albatross, he can fly for 5 years, means that is powerful. So there are so many birds, animals having so many qualities, and trying to say that all birds come from one family, all animals come from one family. See, they may have a family like leopards, lions, tigers, or cat family. There is a dog family, there is a horse family. That is something which is genetic. But saying that they all come from one father and one mother is unscientific. And giving credit that maybe they evolved over hundreds of millions of years, it is something, there is no need for so much millions of years of evolution. Our nature can do it on instant. If it wants something, it can do it. We have to believe that, because see, this whole world we have not manufactured. Whatever we are manufacturing, nothing reproduces. Our cars don't reproduce. Whatever we manufacture doesn't reproduce. They are not live. And we are afraid of genetic cloning because we don't know what can go wrong. So many countries ban that also. Then how can scientists claim? So what is the secret or the mystery of having some common genes? All human beings have common genes. Okay, they have, we have to agree. But that doesn't mean they come from the same parents. The real reason is, for 200 to 300 million years ago, if you go back, 200 to 300 million years ago, So roughly I will take an average of 250 million years. That is one galactic year, right? There, in one galactic year, every galactic year, we have a formation of supercontinents. 250 million years ago, there was a supercontinent called as Pangaea and Gondwana also. They are more or less related. So one galactic years back, so Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean drifting in and drifting out, closing and opening of Atlantic and Pacific. So this is cyclic. This takes place, supercontinent formation takes place every galactic year. So during Pangaea, all this whatever modern map we have, continents, were connected. Then they started drifting because of earthquakes, volcanoes, tectonic plate movements, and of course Milankovitch cycle is always there. It is always in the background. You cannot ignore Milankovitch cycle if you are talking about our Earth and climatic changes. So Milankovitch cycle is always there. Precession of equinoxes, obliquity, eccentricity. It is complicated, but yes, it is always there. And along with this, when you see, what is the proof that Pangaea existed and these whole land masses were connected, these 7 or 8 continents were connected? What is the proof? Because in all continents, coastal regions, they have got common flora and fauna. Flora and fauna is common. Excuse me. And if you look at the map of the world, it is like a jigsaw puzzle. If you bring all continents together, they will fit like a jigsaw puzzle. And if somewhere it is not fitting, it is under the sea, right? It is submerged. But our all 7 continents or 8 continents, they fit perfectly like a jigsaw puzzle. And whatever missing link is there, it is either submerged or gone underground. So after 250 million years or 1 galactic years, again a supercontinent will form. Continents will drift to the north and south. So latitude change will give different climates. When they go to the east and west, climatic changes are not far or not more. But when they go to the north and south, climatic changes are extreme. When drifting in and drifting out, when Atlantic and Pacific Oceans open and close, Arctic Circle is there, Antarctic Ocean is there. So the reason repeatedly scientists find that human beings have a common gene is because when the supercontinent existed, they were all connected. So it is natural that there must have been migration, invasion, endogamy, polygamy, polyandry, right? One man marrying many women, one woman marrying many men, one man to one woman. So depending upon the tribe, travel conditions and breeding and feeding conditions, all these things happens. So it is natural if too many males will die in migration and invasion, and if very few males are there and more females are there, then naturally polygamy will take place, right? Because females are more and males are less. So what to do? So polygamy is natural in that case. In polyandry, what happens? Females are less and males are more. Because of in migration or invasion, if somehow the female ratio comes down and females are less and males are more, then one-to-one marriages or one-to-one breeding or coupling cannot take place. So one female will allow many males. That will be called as polyandry, right? This is because of natural calamities. See, this can happen. Too many males will die and females will remain. If too many females are there and males are less, then polygamy will take place. If too many males are there and females are less, polyandry will take place. See, it was not for luxury like we think. Maybe the one who is superior or one who rules, like in the jungle, he will kill a weak male and take his woman. Like in the old jungle, survival of the fittest. So naturally that one man, if he is superior and powerful and if he is a gladiator and if he can kill all weak males, he will have many females and then he will breed. That is what happens with seals also, in whales also, in killer whales also, in animal world also, and in tribal or prehistoric antiquity, when marriage was not a concept, when we were basically animals. Same rules were applicable to us, right? So nothing wrong in that. So if birds of same feather flock together, nothing wrong. If people who look alike flock together, who speak the same language flock together, talk together, walk together, that is natural, nothing discriminative. And anyone who is a native is afraid of aliens, because anyone who comes from outside he cannot trust, because he doesn't look like us, he doesn't speak like us, he doesn't talk like us, he doesn't walk like us. So there is a threat perception. Threat perception is there, and that generates a fight or flight mechanism in human beings also and in animals also, right? So natives are always afraid of influx, people coming from outside. But why do people leave their native places and go to some other place, some alien place? Why do they do that? That is called as exodus, means going out. Influx is coming in. But outsiders are never welcome in any country, any continent, and especially in the animal world. Outsiders are never welcome, because ultimately these outsiders or influx will take away their breeding place and their feeding place, right? So this is a fight, whether we like it or not, for breeding and feeding. So survival of the fittest and law of the jungle always applies. So Pangaea or Gondwana, the supercontinent, when it drifted and formed the current continents. So naturally it is proved by paleomagnetism also. Paleomagnetism means what? Our earth in Milankovitch cycle has a obliquity cycle from 21 to 22 degrees, 22 to 23 degrees and 23 to 24 degrees, right? For 1 degree movement from 21 to 24, it takes 7,000 years, right? So from 21 to 24, it roughly takes 21,000 years, minimum to maximum. Then from 24 to 21, maximum to minimum, it will take again 21,000 years approximately. So it is a cycle of 41,000 years to 42,000 years, minimum to minimum, maximum to maximum. Cycle is 41 to 42,000 years cycle. And when this minimum obliquity and ultimately the maximum obliquity takes place, now we are at 23 degrees, 23.45 to be precise, obliquity, right? And it is reducing. Now it will go to 22, then it will go to 21, right? So around 9000 BC, we had maximum obliquity, say around 24 degrees, and 12,000 AD or 12,000 current era, we will have 21 degrees obliquity approximately. These are not precise calculations, but yes, thumb rule is correct. Information is right. What happens from minimum to maximum when the obliquity shifts in 7,000 years? Reversal of Earth's pole takes place. 21 to 24 degrees, it will take 7,000 years. So reversal of poles will not happen suddenly, like a heart attack. Even heart attack doesn't happen suddenly, it takes time. So pole reversal when you are reaching from 21 degrees to 24 degrees, it will take place. So for every degree there is slight pole reversal or pole movement, magnetic pole moves. Reversal will take place at 21 degrees and 24 degrees. So 21 to 24 is 7,000 years, 1 degree is 7,000 years. So 21 to 24 is 21,000 years. 7 3 is 21. And 24 to 21 is again 21,000 years. So logically, at 21 degrees and 24 degrees, or for every 1 degree shift, pole reversal will take place slowly and steadily. Our sun's poles also reverse every 11 years. That is the solar cycle. We know that 11-year cycle of the sun, when the spots increase or decrease, right? Paleomagnetism is what? It shows clearly what was the magnetic field 7,000 years back. So it will directly tell us the obliquity of the earth. What was the obliquity of the earth at that time in the Milankovitch cycle, right? So pole reversal also indicates by paleomagnetism. So magnetic field of the earth reverses. Don't be afraid. It is not going to change immediately. As I said, for 1 degree shift, it takes 7,000 years, right? And then minerals, high pressure diamonds. Diamonds are formed in high pressure in coal mines. In coal mines, diamonds are formed. In diamond mines, coals are there, right? Diamond is a carbon molecule, right? So diamonds, especially zircon or something like diamonds, precious stones, can also indicate which period the crust where these precious stones are found. They also have a data of that period, right? Paleomagnetism is there, zircon is also there, because the Jupiter-Venus cycle was proved by the zircon particles available in a geological study of Newark and New Jersey, where it was clear that for 1 galactic year, so 250 million years, the Jupiter-Venus cycle remains stable for 4 lakh years. Every 4 lakh years, it is cyclic, see. So Aryan invasion theory, Aryan migration theory, whether people came from Africa to India or from India to Africa, or whether people traveled from the north of the continent to the south, or from the east or to the west, from northeast to northwest, or southeast to southwest, or from anywhere to anywhere. See, migration is always done for good food, clothing, shelter, for good food and great sex, feeding, breeding, food, clothing, shelter, better prospects, right? So migration theory is also possible. Invasion is also there. We invade because if our survival is at stake, we invade. So partial migration must have taken place in everywhere, in every country, from everywhere to everywhere. Partial invasion also takes place from everywhere to everywhere. At that time, aeroplanes were not there, fighter planes were not there, so it was not possible for aggressive invasions like nowadays people do in First World War, Second World War, or in the Third World War, which will happen if we will behave in this way, whatever is going on, right? So Corona is nothing but Third World War. So I think migration theory is partially acceptable. Invasion theory is also partially acceptable. And indigenous theories, natives are there everywhere, in every country. nature is powerful enough to have natives everywhere. There has no need for the North Pole native to go into the South Pole. Like polar bears are on the north, penguins are in the south. There is no need for this big migration of polar bears from the north to the south and penguins from the south to the north, right? So this is scientific. Try and understand, it is complicated, but everything is scientific and we can prove